Look at your phone for a second. Not your messages, not your apps. Go straight to your camera roll. Scroll. What do you see? Is it vacations? Screenshots you forgot to delete? Or is it them? Hundreds of photos of a creature that doesn't speak your language, but somehow takes up more space in your life than most people ever will. Them sleeping, them yawning, them doing absolutely nothing. And somehow, every photo still feels important, necessary, like proof that this bond exists. Now look around the world we're living in. Dogs in strollers, cats with birthday cakes, people introducing themselves as moms and dads to animals that clearly aren't human. And somewhere in that picture is a sentence you've probably heard before, or maybe even said yourself. I don't want kids. I have my dog. Some people laugh at that. They call it childish. They say it's pretend, a phase, a coping mechanism. But it isn't pretend. And the reason it feels so real to the people living it is because, on the inside, it is real. When you look at your pet and feel that sudden warmth in your chest, that rush of love that almost feels physical, your brain isn't pausing to ask philosophical questions. It isn't checking species. It isn't ranking relationships. It's responding the only way it knows how, with attachment, with bonding, with chemistry that evolved long before language ever existed. The same internal response that connects a parent to a child lights up when you lock eyes with your pet. Not symbolically, not metaphorically.
Literally. That's why the shift from pet owner to pet parent didn't feel forced for so many people. It felt overdue, because the relationship had already crossed that line emotionally. The words just finally caught up. And when someone calls their dog their son or their cat their daughter, it's not because they're confused about reality. It's because their nervous system has already decided what role this being plays in their life. What we're really talking about here isn't imagination. It's dependency, care, routine. The act of waking up every day knowing another life depends on you, feeding them, watching their behavior for subtle changes, feeling your stomach drop when something seems off, feeling relief when they're okay. Over time, the brain stops categorizing this as animal care and starts registering it as something much older, much deeper: protection, responsibility, bond. And unlike human children, pets occupy a very specific emotional space. Human children are meant to grow up and leave. That's the unspoken contract of parenting. You raise them to become independent, to walk away, to form lives that no longer revolve around you. Even in the healthiest families, that process hurts. Love is mixed with loss from the very beginning. Pets don't do that. A pet is the child that never grows out of needing you. They don't pack bags. They don't move cities. They don't emotionally outgrow the relationship. They stay.
They remain dependent, affectionate, present, frozen in a stage of life where your care always matters. For people who carry a fear of abandonment, or for people who feel safest when they are needed, that kind of bond isn't just comforting, it's stabilizing. It creates a relationship that doesn't change shape, one you don't have to brace yourself to lose through emotional distance. The love doesn't evolve into something colder or more complicated. It stays soft, immediate, accessible. And that sense of permanence can feel like emotional oxygen for someone who's known relationships that disappeared without warning. Have you ever looked at your pet and felt something almost overwhelming? A sudden urge to squeeze them, hold them, press your face into their fur because you can't handle how cute they are? That feeling isn't random. It's what happens when care, protection, and affection flood the system all at once. It's emotional overload trying to regulate itself. Pets trigger the same instinct that evolved to keep human infants alive. Big eyes, small bodies, clumsy movements, signals that say, protect this. Human children eventually lose those cues. Their faces change, their bodies grow, They age out of that automatic protection response. Pets don't. They remain locked in it for life, which means your brain never stops responding to them as something precious and vulnerable, something that needs you. This is why the bond feels parental, even when no one is trying to make it that way. If you scanned the brain of someone looking at their pet with love, the pattern wouldn't look like friendship. It wouldn't look like ownership. It would look like caregiving.
Attachment, the same internal state that binds a parent to a child. And biology is only part of the story, because human relationships are complicated. They evolve. They introduce judgment, expectations, conflict. Children grow into people who can criticize you, reject you, leave you. That's not a flaw, it's reality. But it's also emotionally demanding, especially for people who already feel drained by constant performance, misunderstanding, or emotional negotiation. Pets don't ask for that. They don't judge your choices. They don't reinterpret your bad day as a personal failure. They don't require explanations. They just want you as you are. Tired, quiet, messy, unfiltered. For someone who has spent a lifetime feeling like they have to earn love, that kind of acceptance can feel like a safe harbor, a place where the nervous system finally unclenches. You come home, and there's a being who is simply glad you exist. No conditions attached, no emotional tax. This is why people spoil their pets, not out of emptiness, but out of gratitude. Cooking special meals, buying toys, letting them take over the bed. These aren't acts of excess, they're acts of appreciation. A way of saying thank you to a creature that absorbs stress, regulates emotions, and offers comfort without ever asking for more than presence. There's a popular idea that people who treat pets like children are trying to fill a void. And sometimes that's true, but more often it's incomplete. Many pet parents aren't lacking love, they have too much of it. They are high-capacity nurturers living in a world that doesn't always give them a place to put that energy.
Modern life delays or blocks traditional caregiving roles. Housing is expensive, stability is fragile, the future feels uncertain. But the instinct to care doesn't disappear just because the world makes it inconvenient. It looks for somewhere to land. Pets become that landing place, not as a lesser option, but as an alternative family structure that fits the reality people are living in. For many, this bond also offers a sense of control in a world that feels chaotic. Raising a human is unpredictable. You can do everything right and still lose influence. With a pet, the rules are clearer. You choose what they eat, where they go, how they're cared for. That sense of mastery over one small, safe ecosystem can be deeply calming for someone whose larger life feels out of control. This isn't about dominance, it's about stewardship, about knowing that at least in this one relationship, care reliably leads to safety, that effort has a visible outcome, that you can keep something living and happy even when the rest of the world feels unstable. Different people arrive at pet parenthood for different reasons. Some are protectors, hyper-aware, always watching. Their love is vigilant because they understand how fragile life can be. When their pet is safe, they feel safe. Some are bonders, quiet, intimate, deeply connected. They talk to their pets not because they think they'll get answers, but because they finally feel heard without interruption. Some are healers, rescuers, drawn to broken, scared animals because repairing something outside themselves helps repair something inside.